let me tell you something real. People swear they know you, swear they understand what you bring to the table, until the day they betray you and life shows them exactly who they played with. See, they thought you were just another person in their life, but really, you were the blessing. You were the one that kept their world steady. You were the one that brought peace in chaos, loyalty in confusion, and guidance when they were lost. But they didn't see that, and that blindness, that's where their downfall started. People always act like betrayal is just another story, like it's something that happens to other people or something you can just brush off. But the truth is most people underestimate the consequences of betrayal until life itself forces them to face what they did. They don't realize that every action has a reaction, every choice has a cost, and every time you step on someone's loyalty, the universe has a way of showing you what that really costs. It's not about revenge, it's not about getting even, it's about the natural order of things. The energy you put out comes back, and when you betray somebody who's real, who's true, who moves with integrity, you set yourself up for consequences you didn't see coming. See, people think loyalty is weakness. They think that when someone shows up for you over and over, that's a free pass to take advantage, to manipulate, to play games. They don't understand that real loyalty is power. Real loyalty is quiet strength. And when you betray that kind of power, when you cross someone who holds their energy and their word in high regard, you're not just betraying them, you're betraying the very system of life that protects you. You're signing up for setbacks, confusion, and a life that's never as smooth as you thought it would be, because the universe doesn't reward disloyalty. It exposes it. And when life exposes it, it hits harder than any words could. The crazy part is that betrayal doesn't just hurt the person being betrayed. It reveals the person doing the betraying. It shows you who they really are, what they really value, and what kind of energy they bring into the world. People don't realize that crossing a genuine person isn't a mark of strength. It's a mark of weakness. It's insecurity dressed up like confidence. It's fear wrapped in pride. And that kind of energy always finds its way back around. Life has a funny way of teaching lessons to those who don't see them coming. The ones who think they can play games with people's hearts and trust will eventually find themselves isolated, stuck, and wondering where it all went wrong. And it always goes back to that moment of betrayal. That choice to act selfishly at the expense of someone else's peace. When someone betrays you, don't waste your time trying to make them understand. Don't waste your energy trying to fix what they broke. Their consequences are already in motion. Every door they thought would open smoothly starts to close. Every relationship they relied on begins to show cracks. Every plan they had suddenly feels heavier because the foundation they built it on was shaken by their own hands. And meanwhile you're still moving, you're still growing, you're still becoming more than they ever imagined you could be. That's the difference. They reacted with fear, selfishness, and betrayal. You responded with integrity, resilience, and vision. And that energy, that path you're on, becomes a silent witness to the fact that loyalty, respect, and truth always outlast deceit. The lessons come hard for those who betray. Life doesn't sugarcoat the consequences. It doesn't give a warning. It doesn't say, hey, maybe you should reconsider. It just shifts the balance. It tests their plans. It challenges their comfort. And slowly, steadily, the truth reveals itself. When you betray someone who's real, you're not just hurting them, you're undermining your own potential. You're creating friction in your own life. You're cutting off the very support that could have elevated you. And the irony is, it's often the same person they underestimated, the one they thought they could play or take for granted, who becomes the benchmark of everything they'll never achieve because they refuse to honor loyalty and integrity. So people underestimate betrayal because they never fully grasp the weight of trust. They don't understand how much unseen energy, sacrifice, and faith someone can put into their life. They don't understand that real people move with intention, with purpose, with a silent plan to rise, to grow, to protect what's theirs. And when that trust is broken, the ripples don't just stop at the surface. They go deep. They hit the ones who betrayed harder than they ever imagined. And that's the truth most people don't see coming until they're staring at the aftermath of their own choices, wondering how life turned against them, when all along it was just the natural reflection of what they put out into the world. Betrayal isn't just about who loses in the moment. It's about who gains in the long run, and the ones who betray. They always lose eventually because loyalty, integrity, and truth have a way of standing the test of time when everything else falls away. Loyalty is one of the most powerful things a person can give, but most people don't recognize it until it's too late. They don't understand that loyalty isn't just a word, it's a foundation. It's a commitment that moves in silence, that works behind the scenes, that elevates people without needing recognition. When you show up for someone day in and day out, when you invest your energy, your time, your faith into them, that is a blessing. It's rare. It's precious. And the thing about blessings is they aren't meant to be wasted. They aren't meant to be taken lightly. People always act like loyalty is something they can just exploit, something they can assume will always be there. But they fail to understand that loyalty is selective. It's not for everybody, and it's not unlimited. When you are loyal, you bring value. You bring stability. You bring truth in a world full of chaos. You are the person who keeps it real, who sees beyond the surface, who invests in growth, in potential, in possibilities. That kind of presence changes the trajectory of the people around you. And when someone doesn't recognize that, when they betray it, when they take it for granted, the consequences hit harder than they ever expected. Because losing loyalty is never just a loss for the person giving it. It becomes a downfall for the one who fails to honor it. Think about it. Loyalty creates doors. Loyalty builds trust. Loyalty fosters connections that can't be bought, can't be faked, and can't be replaced. When you betray that, when you fail to appreciate it, you're not just breaking a bond. You're dismantling a source of stability in your life. That source was carrying you, supporting you, sometimes silently holding you up when you didn't even realize it. And once it's gone, suddenly you're forced to face the fact that what you lost cannot be replicated. There's nothing that comes after that can match the energy, the commitment, the authenticity that was once there. You thought it was easy to have, but it wasn't. And that's where the downfall begins. The irony of loyalty is that it doesn't just benefit the person receiving it, it defines the person giving it. A loyal person operates on principles that most people don't live by. They understand sacrifice. They understand patience. They understand consistency. They know that real growth comes from building strong foundations, and they honor those around them because they see the bigger picture. Betrayal doesn't just take loyalty away, it exposes character. It exposes weakness. People start to realize too late that the person they crossed was not replaceable, not negotiable, and not disposable. Losing that loyalty doesn't just hurt in the moment. It alters the trajectory of life for the person who failed to honor it. And here's the thing, loyalty is silent power. It doesn't scream. It doesn't demand attention. But when it's gone, its absence speaks louder than anything ever could. You can see it in the opportunities that disappear, the relationships that crumble, the momentum that slows. The people who thought they could manipulate, deceive, or play with that loyalty suddenly find themselves navigating life without the very thing that gave them strength in the first place. That's the downfall. It doesn't come from revenge. It doesn't come from malice. It comes naturally, organically, like the universe balancing the scales. When you undervalue a blessing, it disappears. And life has a way of showing you why it mattered. Loyalty also teaches a lesson in timing and recognition. People don't know its value until they experience its absence. They don't know what it costs to maintain it, to protect it, to give it with purity. And when it's gone, they realize that the real ones are never easy to find. The people who operate with integrity, who stand by you through storms, who invest in your growth without asking for anything in return, those people are rare. And when you let them go, you let go of stability, trust, guidance, and energy that can't be duplicated. That's the ultimate cost. That's the moment when the blessing you didn't recognize becomes the downfall you can't escape. Loyalty isn't about keeping score. It's about being solid. It's about being real. It's about contributing to something greater than yourself. And those who fail to honor it don't just lose a friend, a partner, a guide. They lose a force that was moving them forward, a power that was lifting them higher, a presence that was helping them win in ways they could never achieve alone. Losing loyalty becomes their biggest downfall because it removes the stability they counted on, the truth they ignored, and the blessing they couldn't see until it was gone. When loyalty is lost, you can feel the shift. You can see the opportunities fade. You can see relationships weaken. And slowly, you start to understand that the one thing you dismissed was the one thing holding it all together. That's why loyalty is a blessing, and losing it becomes the downfall for anyone who thought it was theirs to take for granted. It's not punishment, it's consequence. It's life showing you the value of what you had after it's gone and reminding you that real blessings are never replaceable. Betrayal hits differently when you're real, when you've built yourself with intention, when you move with vision, when your energy is pure. Betrayal doesn't break you. It reveals you. It exposes the power that you've been quietly carrying, the strength that comes from loyalty, patience, and self-respect. Most people think betrayal is a weakness. They think when someone crosses you, when someone uses your trust, when someone turns their back, that's a moment to question yourself, to doubt your worth. But that's not the truth. The truth is, betrayal is a mirror. It doesn't show what you're lacking. It doesn't highlight your flaws. It shines a light on the reality of the other person, their character, their intentions, their limits. See, people can't stand to see someone move with authenticity. They can't handle loyalty they didn't earn. They get uncomfortable around people who are disciplined, who think long term, who operate in integrity while the world around them moves in chaos. That's when betrayal comes, not because you did anything wrong, but because the world is testing the unworthy. The moment someone chooses to betray you, they reveal exactly who they are. Weakness disguised as confidence. Greed disguised as ambition. Fear dressed up like control. They show their true colors, and in doing so, they hand you a map to your own power. Because here's the thing, when someone betrays you, the energy you carry doesn't diminish. Your vision doesn't shrink. Your purpose doesn't fail. What happens is that life separates the real from the fake. It pulls the imposters away from your lane. And in that separation, your power becomes visible to yourself and to the world. You realize that nothing they did could touch your foundation. They couldn't shake the discipline you built. They couldn't take away the respect you earned. They couldn't silence the voice inside that knows your worth. Betrayal doesn't break you. It highlights the fact that you were standing on a stronger ground than they could ever reach. And every time someone betrays you, it's a lesson in character. Theirs, not yours. It's easy to point fingers and ask, why me? But the real question isn't about you. The real question is, what does this show about them? Because betrayal is never just an action. It's a statement. It's a declaration of values or the lack thereof. People who betray are revealing the emptiness inside, the corners they never worked on, the ambition they never disciplined, the loyalty they never understood. And when you see that, you can't be angry for long. You just watch, you learn, and you rise. Betrayal also teaches patience. It teaches you to wait and let life handle justice in its own way. You don't have to stoop. You don't have to retaliate. You don't have to lower your energy to match their mistakes. Your power is in restraint, in maintaining your standards, in staying true to yourself while they show the world who they really are. And in that, you gain an advantage that can't be taken. You gain clarity, you gain perspective, you gain the ability to recognize true allies when they appear because you've seen the opposite. You've felt what it's like to have someone betray trust, to have someone disrespect your loyalty, to have someone prioritize their selfish desires over your shared vision. And once you see that, you never waste your energy on the wrong people again. The beauty of betrayal is that it doesn't just expose their weakness. It amplifies your strength. It forces you to operate at a higher level, to rise above the petty, to protect your vision, to safeguard your energy. It teaches you to double down on your commitment to yourself, to your goals, and to the people who actually deserve your loyalty. And as you rise, the ones who betrayed you are left behind, stuck in the chaos they created, constantly reminded of the power they disrespected, the blessing they lost, and the path they sabotaged. Betrayal doesn't define your life. It defines their character. And once you see that, once you embrace that, it changes everything. You stop feeling victimized. You stop seeking validation from people who never had it in them to give. You stop letting their actions distract you from your mission. Instead, you turn it into fuel, into motivation, into clarity. Every betrayal becomes a stepping stone. Every betrayal becomes a lesson in discernment. Every betrayal becomes proof that you were stronger than anyone knew, including them. And in the end, the ones who betrayed you, life eventually reflects their choices back to them. But you continue to shine, you continue to grow, and you continue to operate at a level that they could never reach. Betrayal reveals your power, not your weakness. It exposes the truth about others, and it shows the world what real strength looks like. Sometimes people leave your life, and it hurts like hell. It feels personal. It feels like a betrayal, a rejection, or a loss that you can't understand. You ask yourself why, you replay moments, you try to figure out what you did wrong. But the truth is, it's not always about what you did. Sometimes it's about what the universe sees that you don't. Sometimes people are removed from your life, not to punish you, but to protect you. Not to take away, but to make space for what you're really meant to have. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Life has a way of testing your patience, your perspective, and your trust in the process. People show up, and some of them stay, some of them leave. Some of them teach you lessons you didn't know you needed. And when someone leaves, it can feel like the sky is falling, but really it's life redirecting you, keeping you safe from energy influence or situations that could stunt your growth. You can't always see the bigger picture in the moment, but later on, when things settle, when clarity arrives, you realize that their absence was protection, not punishment. It's hard to accept at first. You feel the void, the missing presence, the space they once filled. You might even blame yourself, wondering if you weren't enough or if you could have done something different. But the reality is, the people who leave often carried a weight, a vibration, or a limitation that didn't align with your purpose. And the universe has a way of removing what doesn't serve your higher path. Sometimes it's harsh, sometimes it's painful, but it's intentional. It's a shield. And once you see it that way, it changes how you feel about loss. The universe doesn't operate like humans. It doesn't negotiate with feelings or expectations. It moves according to energy, alignment, and truth. And sometimes the people who leave were never meant to walk the full journey with you. Sometimes they were necessary for a season, but not for a lifetime. Their presence may have given lessons, comfort, or challenge, but holding on beyond their purpose can block your vision, stunt your growth, or distract you from your mission. The removal isn't rejection, it's correction, it's guidance, it's protection. And here's what most people don't understand: the absence of certain people often allows for clarity and elevation. When someone leaves, the space they leave behind gives you room to breathe, to focus, to grow, to recalibrate. It forces you to look inward, to build resilience, and to realize that your path is bigger than the attachments you thought you needed. Life removes people not because it's cruel, but because it's wise. Sometimes you have to lose the familiar to gain the extraordinary. Sometimes you have to let go of the hand that once held you so that you can step fully into the future that's waiting for you. Pain is inevitable when people leave. You feel it deep. It shakes you. It forces you to confront feelings you might have ignored, fears you might have avoided, or truths you didn't want to see. But pain is also proof of growth. It's proof that your heart is capable of connection, that your life had impact, that your energy was meaningful. And when you let the universe guide the removals, when you trust that the people leaving are doing so to protect your higher self, the pain transforms into wisdom. You start to understand that every removal has intention, every exit has purpose, and every loss is a form of protection disguised as absence. Sometimes it takes years to fully understand why someone was removed from your life. Sometimes it takes months or weeks, but eventually you see the pattern. You see how their absence opened doors, cleared confusion, and made room for people, opportunities, and energy that align with your truth. You see that the universe was never punishing you. It was guiding you. It was keeping you safe from stagnation, deception, or distraction. And when you see that, when you fully grasp that the removals were protection, not rejection, you start to move through life with trust, confidence, and clarity. So when people leave, don't curse the departure. Don't dwell on the loss. Don't try to force what is not meant to stay. Instead, recognize the blessing in the absence. Recognize the space it creates, the lessons it brings, and the protection it provides. The universe always has your back, even when it hurts, even when the heart aches, even when it feels unfair. Trust the process, honor the growth, and know that sometimes removal is the universe's way of ensuring that your path stays clear, your energy stays strong, and your life keeps moving toward the greatness you're destined to reach. There's a power in a comeback that most people don't understand. They think it's about revenge. They think it's about proving them wrong. But a real comeback isn't about them at all. It's about you. It's about rising to the level you were always capable of, stepping into the life you were meant to live, and doing it with focus, discipline, and integrity. That's where the real karma lies. People who doubted you, betrayed you, or underestimated you, they never saw it coming. And when they do, it hits differently. It's silent. It's undeniable. It's proof that what they thought held you back was never stronger than your vision. See the ones who cross you, who betray trust, who take advantage of loyalty. They always assume they can slow you down. They think their actions, their words, or their manipulation have power over your path, but the truth is, they only amplify your energy. Their doubt, their betrayal, their negativity becomes fuel. Every closed door, every lie, every moment of disrespect, the universe hands it back to you as motivation. And when you respond by building, by grinding, by elevating yourself beyond the space they ever imagined, that's when the real karma begins. They didn't plan for your growth. They didn't anticipate your discipline. They didn't account for the fact that your comeback would be unstoppable. A comeback is never immediate. It's It's never flashy at first. It starts in silence, in preparation, in work behind the scenes. While they're celebrating what they think is your setback, you're plotting, learning, strengthening. You're making moves that only you can see, aligning your vision, protecting your energy, and sharpening your mind. And that's the beauty of it. Karma doesn't announce itself. It doesn't send warnings. It just arrives. And when it does, the people who doubted you finally understand that they were never the architects of your life. They were only obstacles you had to rise above. People rarely realize the power of a comeback because they measure success the wrong way. They measure it in immediate wins or losses. But a comeback is measured over time. It's measured in consistency, in growth, in the way you handle yourself when everyone expected you to break. It's measured in how you turn pain into wisdom, betrayal into strategy, and doubt into unshakable confidence. And when they witness that, they finally understand that the energy they wasted trying to bring you down was just strengthening your foundation. They never expected that the person they tried to hurt would come back stronger, smarter, and untouchable. That's karma. That's the quiet justice that doesn't need to be loud to be felt. The thing about karma is it's subtle but unavoidable. It doesn't need your approval or your intervention. It's life itself balancing the scales. And when your comeback arrives, it's not about them losing. It's about you winning on a level they could never interfere with. The same people who laughed at your struggle, questioned your vision, or betrayed your trust, they get to watch you rise in ways they couldn't imagine. Your life becomes a testament to your resilience, and your energy becomes the reminder that loyalty, integrity, and focus always outlast betrayal, negativity, and doubt. Comebacks are also about mindset. When someone crosses you, the natural reaction is anger, resentment, or even revenge. But a true comeback doesn't waste energy on those emotions. It channels them. It turns pain into strategy. It turns disappointment into motivation. It turns the impossible into evidence that you were capable all along. And when that growth is fully realized, the people who underestimated you don't just see your success, they feel it. They feel the weight of what they ignored, the consequence of their actions, and the reality that life moves in favor of those who stay committed to their vision, no matter the setbacks. And it's never just about material gains or recognition. Your comeback is about self-respect, about showing up for yourself, about honoring your own path. It's about proving that no betrayal, no doubt, no obstacle could ever dictate your worth or your destiny. That energy, that discipline, that rise, it's the kind of karma that speaks louder than any words ever could. And when it lands, the people who tried to derail you are left with a lesson they can't unsee. Real power isn't in tearing others down. It's in building yourself up despite the odds. So when people doubt you, betray you, or dismiss your potential, let it fuel you. Let it sharpen your focus. Let it remind you that the greatest justice isn't in retaliation. It's in the life you create, the rise you achieve, the vision you protect, the legacy you build. That's the karma they never expected. That's the power of a comeback. And when it arrives, it's unstoppable, undeniable, and unforgettable.